A lot has been made of billionaire Kathy Cargill buying up and demolishing about a dozen homes on Park Point, removing them from an already tight stock of Duluth single-family homes. But what if I told you 10 times that many Duluth homes have been yanked from the market in the past year alone in a way that's gotten far less attention? Investors are snatching up residences in all parts of the city at an eye-popping rate, converting what were homes for purchase into long and short-term rentals. City leaders and residents say it's adding to our housing crisis and creating neighborhoods without neighbors.
A lot of these are the older homes that are rentals.
Kathleen Roofs has called this Kenwood neighborhood home for 35 years.
And you can just see they're not being maintained.
Giving us a tour of it, she has a hard time finding her longtime neighbors. Not because of the fog,
there's another.
But because she doesn't have many.
Well, that street is all rentals.
An increasing number of these houses are not owned by the folks living there, but instead investors who buy them with all cash offers and often convert what was a 2 to 3 bedroom home into a 5 or 6 bedroom rental.
There are LLCs in this neighborhood who own 6 or 8 houses in the neighborhood.
When Roofs and her family moved here in 1989, she says it was filled with families, young people, old folks, and even a group home. Now it's a revolving door of unfamiliar faces and increasingly familiar problems.
Parking issues, frequent noise issues, frequent blight issues, and increased traffic and speeding. We have experienced lots of changes.
Ruth says her beef isn't with renters or even the concept of rental properties, as she's landlord of a small home nearby. To her, the issue is corporate landlords who don't live in the area and therefore neglect their properties.
The landlords need to be accountable for the behavior of their tenants.
According to HUD, the trend of investors buying up houses began during the Great Recession when the government incentivized corporate purchases of foreclosed homes to help stabilize the market. The trend then accelerated during the pandemic when interest rates bottomed out. There's a lot of money being made, but many longtime Duluthians say it's at their expense.
Clearly, in these neighborhoods, single-family neighborhoods, one LLC owning 8 houses, is an abuse.
Numbers from the city of Duluth show in 2014, LLCs purchased 68 residences, or 4.5% of all homes sold that year. Last year, they bought 112 Duluth residences, accounting for 9.5% of all 2023 sales, greatly expanding their presence into areas like West Duluth.
The house directly next to us is a rental, and then 2 of the homes across the street are rentals.
Dave Nunemacher lives in Denfeld.
So, I mean, we've seen people cycle through, but that's the nature of a rental.
In recent years, it's this part of town that's seen the biggest rise in LLC purchases of single-family homes. And while parking issues and noise are less of a problem here compared to Kenwood, every corporate purchase of a house is felt in a different way.
If I have a top-level concern, it's that lifetime Duluthians can't buy a home in their own community right now.
Mayor Roger Reiner says corporate buy-ups put a significant dent in the number of single-family homes available in a city that's only managed a net gain of 36 in a decade.
It's really problematic.
Experts also say families are priced out of the buyer market because of all-cash bids many of these corporations use to purchase large numbers of properties.
So whether it's LLCs, whether it's VRBOs, whether it's 1-off or 2-off or 3-off rental ownership property, it's challenging. And everyone in Duluth knows it's challenging because it makes it really hard to find a home.
We asked the county assessor for a list of all the investor-owned properties in the city of Duluth. Here it is right here, 1,660 of them, or 6% of all residences in Duluth. That compares to 5.7% of residences in Rochester and 3% in the Twin Cities. This is a big problem for them as well. The difference is they have plenty more room to build. We don't. It's why lawmakers are now getting involved.
We obviously know this is an incredibly pressing issue.
Duluth State Rep Liz Olson co-sponsored a bill during this past legislative session aimed at putting limits on corporate home ownership.
I represent Park Point, I represent West Duluth. You know, we see what's happening and we want to keep, the goal is to keep as many homes that are affordable, affordable.
The legislation would limit corporations to 10 single-family rental homes in each city. Companies that already own more than that would be required to sell them within 2 years of the law taking effect. There would also be some restrictions around usage.
Would put some scrutiny around them having to disclose what their intent is, who they are, as well as have some restrictions on no more than 10 property buy-ups without the intent of keeping them as single-family homes that they would be living in.
Our digging found there are 21 companies in Duluth that own 10 or more residences. But the bill received some pushback. Republicans say forcing companies to sell homes is unconstitutional. There's also a fear that trying to cap rentals isn't realistic.
Because caps don't work. People find ways to go around the caps. They do it without getting permission. They become unlicensed. They become unsafe.
And an inspection of Duluth residences owned by LLCs bears that out. Look at this. 11 residences in the city are owned by Capgrow Holdings JV Sub V LLC. 3 residences in the city are owned by Capgrow Holdings JV Sub VI LLC. Just a one-letter addition in different addresses technically make them different LLCs. So the mayor wants to bring back a regulation that used to exist in the city.
20 years ago, as a counselor, I worked with other counselors and we put the 300-foot rule in. Can't have a licensed rental within 300 foot of another one. And it really was meant to prevent conversion of entire blocks, home after home after home, into licensed rentals.
The 300-foot rule was in effect in Duluth from 2008 to 2010, meant at the time to apply brakes to an explosion in student rentals near UMD. Reinert says bringing it back in a new form could make an impact citywide.
We want to have the diversity of home and rental opportunities. We just can't have it literally consume blocks or consume entire neighborhoods.
And they had a garage that had fallen in.
Kathleen Roofs agrees, not just to benefit herself, but others still in search of the American dream.
And we have many houses here that would be lovely, lovely starter homes, or retirement homes, or homes for young professionals that, in our opinion, should be available for purchase to the public. But they're being sold to LLCs.
And the bill capping rentals in a given city didn't go far during this legislative session. Authors hope that after some tweaks are made, it could pass next year.